All right, y'all, so again, this is the test from Tuesday, and we're just gonna literally work through them all. I know some of you feel really good about this, but I want you guys to feel better about it. And so again, if you're online, you can just come out, log off if you would like to, but I've got enough people that wanted to practice this, so here we go. All right, so question 1, we've got 4 and 51/100 plus a negative 7 and 1/10. Okay? So I guess here's my first question to you. What operation are we doing in this problem? Addition. We're adding, right? We're adding. Okay? One is positive and one is negative. When we are adding or subtracting and one is positive and one is negative, what that means is that we are really subtracting them because they are different sides of the zero. So what I'm really going to do is take 7.1 and I'm going to subtract 4.51. Okay? Is everybody okay with that? I want you to hear this. When we are adding or subtracting, we must line up our decimals. So these two decimals have to be lined up. We're okay with that. I'm also going to put a 0 in here as a place value holder. Does anybody have an issue with that? Okay, now, when we are adding and subtracting, we have to make our answer be whichever number is bigger. Let me ask you this. Is 7 or 4 bigger? 7. So what that means is that our answer has to have a negative in it. Our answer has to be negative. I cannot tell you how many of you missed number 1 because you did not put the negative sign. A lot of you. Okay, now we're just going to subtract. I know it's addition, but because we have a positive and a negative number, that's why we're subtracting. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to borrow from the 1 here. That's a 0. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. Cannot take away 5 from 0, so I'm going to borrow from the 7. This becomes a 6. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 6 minus 4 is 2. Can anybody tell me where the decimal is going to go in this problem? Okay. If the decimal has to be in a straight line, there's no reason it changes from the top part to the bottom part. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Okay? So the correct answer to this problem is negative 2.59. I'm going to write that up here so you can go back and check it here in a few minutes. Are we okay there? Questions? Yes?
Are we supposed to score our test? Because if I do, I forget it.
I put it in Skyward. I'll make you a deal. When we finish going through this, you can go spend time going back over your test. How's that? Nathan?
What about the quiz for today?
No, we don't need to do that today. Today, this is all we're doing today. I couldn't unpublish the quiz because some students already started it, but today, all you're doing is just focusing on this. Does that make sense? I really feel that this is more important than us moving on. We'll take today's lesson and we'll do it on Monday. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is it today. No homework tonight, just this. Read.
Will we be like redoing the test?
You will be able to correct it, yes, sir. So if you take good notes today, then your redo should be really simple. Okay, we're good? All right, question 2. Hey, Rosie, when this number up top here gets to like 13 minutes, will you let me know?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, this next one. If you can do that, Rosie, that would be fantastic, because at 15, I have to stop and make a new video, okay?
Okay.
So here we've got negative 3 and 2/10. Jackson and Caleb, we're just going over this, so if you feel good about it, you don't have to stay through the video, which you're more than welcome to. And this is all we're doing today is just practicing this skill because I feel like we need to refresh and stuff, okay? So that's your choice. Negative 3 and 2/10 times a negative 5 and 6/10. How do I know this is multiplication? How do I know? Ms. Williams?
Because there's no sign.
There's no symbol there. The only time that we cannot have a symbol is when we're doing multiplication. Okay? When we're doing multiplication and division, with positives and negatives, we're going to have this triangle. Now, this triangle only works for positives and negatives. If you had Mystique last year, she loves Disney. So she would put these Mickey Mouse ears on her triangle and put the multiplying and the dividing sign. That's just something that she did. You don't have to do that. I'm just trying to help you connect some of the dots to make this concept easier. Okay, before I ever start solving this problem, I have a negative times a negative. A negative times a negative gives me what type of answer? So when you finish this problem, you have a positive answer. If you have a negative answer, it's going to be wrong. So we're going to have 3.2 times 5.6. When we're multiplying and dividing, do we have to line up our decimals? No. Is it okay if they line up? It's okay, but we don't have to do it. So if they just line up by happenstance, cool beans. If they don't line up, cool beans. It doesn't matter. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry my 1. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 is 19. We're all okay with how I got 192 so far. 5 times 2 is 10. Oh, whoops, skipped a step there. You gotta put your place value holder. Now we're gonna do 5 times 2, which is 10. Carry my 1. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 1 is 16. We good there? Okay, next we need to add all of these up. 2, 9, 7, 1. Isaac, can you tell me where my decimal is going to go?
In front of the 2.
Why do you say in front of the 2?
Because the 2 is like the first number.
Okay, good rationale, but incorrect on that one, okay? Can anybody help Isaac out? Rosie?
Behind the 7.
Yeah. Can you tell the class why it's going to go behind the 7?
Because in each, like, pair of numbers on the top, it goes over once each, so you add them up.
So right here, Isaac, I have one number behind the decimal. Right here, I have one number behind the decimal. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So I'm going to move it 2 spots. And is this a positive or negative answer? Positive, because it was a positive times a positive. I'm sorry, a negative times a negative. My bad, my bad. Okay, 2 questions down. Any questions on these 2 questions? Okay? Okay, this next problem. What operation am I doing here? Subtraction. How do I know I'm doing subtraction, Caden?
The iPad slid down, so.
Good to know, thanks. Caden, how do I know I'm doing subtraction? There's a minus sign, right? 14 and 2/10 minus negative 4.96. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, now, I taught you guys the other day, I said anytime that we have subtraction, we're going to convert it to what? Addition of what? Addition of the opposite. Addition of the opposite. So what that means is that this problem now is going to look like this. 14.2, subtraction becomes addition. If this is negative 4.96, what's the opposite of negative 4.96? Positive 4.96. Another way you can remember this is we can never have a double negative. When you have a double negative, it becomes a giant plus sign. 2 negatives form 1 positive. 2 negatives form 1 positive. Okay, now, from that point, I'm just adding these together. Josh, do I have to line up my decimals? Yeah. I do. Because when we are adding or subtracting, they must be lined up together. Kendall, what can I put in this spot up top here? A what? A 0, right? As a place value holder. Now, is my answer to this problem going to be positive or negative, and how do we know? Is it going to be positive or negative, and how do we know? Reed, tell me.
Positive because they both are positive.
It's going to be a positive answer because both of these numbers are positive. Are we okay with that? Okay, now, let's start adding them together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 9 plus 2 is 11. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. I get 19.16. Anybody have any issues with that? Anybody have any questions with that problem? We're good? Ruger, you okay with it?
Yes.
Okay, moving right along to number 4. Is this helping or does this seem like a waste of time? Okay. All right, here we have negative 32.01. And this is being divided by negative 3.3. Okay, first of all, what operation am I doing here? Division, right? Which means that my triangle applies to this problem. And in this problem, I have a negative divided by a negative. So what does my answer have to be? Positive. So I'm going to go ahead and circle this to remind myself that I have to have a positive answer at the very end of all of this. 32.01 divided by 3.3. I know they're both negative, but I took the negatives off because I don't need them in the problem. There was one rule that we had with dividing, and it had to do with this number right here, my divisor. Mariah, do you remember what that one rule about the divisor was?
You have to get rid of the decimal.
Beautiful. There cannot be a decimal in there, so we're going to have to move the decimal one place to the right. And if I move that decimal one place to the right, what do I have to do with the dividends decimal? Caden?
Move it to one place to the right.
Does everybody understand what I mean by that? So if I rewrite my problem now, it's 33 dividing into 320.1. We're all good there? Okay, now, I'm going to use you guys to help me with this problem. How many times does 33 go into 3?
11.
How many times does 33 go into 3?
9.
How many?
0.
0. How many times does 33 go into 32? 0. How many times does 33 go into 320? 9 times. Can anybody tell me what 9 times 33 is? If not, you have scratch paper on your desk. Please solve that for me. 33 times 9. What'd you get, Miss Williams?
297.
Josh, what'd you get?
297.
Okay. Is everybody okay with where I'm at up to this point? Now, I got to do some subtraction. Can I take 7 away from 0? Nope. So I got to make this become a 1 and this becomes a 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. Cannot take 9 away from 1, so I've got to borrow again. I have 23 as my remainder. Do we agree?
It's
Okay, now, at this point, what am I at?
13.
Okay, I'm going to finish this problem out. Perfect, thank you. At this point, 23, I need to bring down this number. Do we agree?
Yes.
My decimal's already taken place, so I don't need to add a decimal. I'm just going to bring down this 1. And now we can figure out how many times does 33 go into 231. How many times does 33 go into 231? I've got 2 hands up. I'd like to get 2 more before we move on. 3, 1 more. Reed, what did you get?
7.
You got 7. What is 7 times 33?
231.
It is 231? So guess what? What's your answer to this problem? 9.7. Do we agree it's positive?
Yes.
Why is it positive, Kendall? Beautiful, Kendall. Thank you so much. All right, let me pause my video, stop my video, and make a new one real quick so that I can upload them all together. Thank you, Rosie. That was perfect.